1. Welcome to Made for More Living.
One small step for man.
With Johnny Jennings.
Kick the tires and light the fires, Big Daddy.
The fastest and most exciting hour of news, events, and real estate in Northern California.
And this is a fact that was proved.
Powered by eXp Realty. Online at madeformoreliving.com.
Does everybody know what time it is?
Get ready. Here we go.
Matt, did you know that it is easier to get a product from China to a warehouse here in Sacramento than it is to take that product the last mile?
Really?
Yes.
What do you mean the last mile?
The last mile. So let's say you ordered a hat from Amazon. Mm-hmm. They can get that product to the Amazon warehouse from all the way across the world easier than it is to get it from the warehouse to your door.
Really? Why is that?
It's just there's so much logistics involved with it that apparently it's one of the hardest things. They actually call it the last mile in logistics. And what does that have to do with real estate,
Yeah, what
right?
does that have to do with real estate?
So what that has to do with real estate, since we're talking about driving, is a little story I like to tell. It's called Hold My Beer.
Okay. Absolutely.
So, all right. So here's
I don't drink, so I don't relate to that, but I get the phrase. Hold my soda, whatever.
Hold my beverage. Hold my beverage. Hold my coffee.
Hold my coffee.
Yeah.
Hold my tap water.
So this is a true story, and I had a call from a seller, and they're like, "Hey, we're interested in having you come out and meet with us and go over options in selling our property. It's a unique property. It's out in the foothills, and we think you're the best person for the job." Mm-hmm. And so I'm okay, great. And so I hop in the car, I'm driving, and I pull off the side of the road, and they're supposed to be off the side of the road. And I'm like, there's no house here, but there is a dirt road or a gravel road. So I'm like, okay, let's take the gravel road. Taking the gravel road, go a little whiles longer, the gravel stops and it's just dirt. And I'm driving in my little sedan, and it's like not an off-road vehicle at all. And I'm going, and all of a sudden it starts getting really steep. And all of a sudden I'm like, man, I don't even know if my little car can make it up this grade. And long story short, I spun out a couple of times. I lost some traction, but I was able to make it to the house. And there's just like a flurry of dust everywhere. Sure. And the sellers are standing outside kind of laughing at me. And of course, they have these monster like Jeeps with like big old tires and lift kits and all this stuff. And they're laughing at me like, I'm surprised you made it up the hill. And I was like, well, you're not the only one who's surprised.
Right.
So they're like, hey, come on in and we'll show you the home. So they showed me the home. They have this beautiful home with spectacular views. But then they said, before we go over values and kind of what it is you provide as an agent, I really think it's important because we're sold on you. We're convinced. We don't need to have a further conversation about you, but we really want you to actually tour the grounds. And they had about 40 acres.
Wow.
And I was like, and it was in the forest on a steep hill, right? We've already established that. Like I barely made it to their house. And so I'm like, okay. And during this process, the husband, he works nights. So this is his evening, even though it's early in the afternoon, it's his evening. And so he's had, I think, 2, maybe 3 Michelob Ultras at this point.
Okay.
And then honey goes, his wife
I liked where this is going.
I know, his wife goes, hey, how about you give him a tour of the grounds? And so I think, okay, we're going to hop in a side-by-side or something like that. Nope. We hop into one of those monster Jeeps.
Sure.
And he goes, oh wow, I'm glad she's letting me drive. She never lets me do this.
This is great.
And I'm thinking, oh, okay.
Hold on, let me call my wife and just tell her I love her.
Yeah, let me make it like my last request. And so he's still got that death grip on the Michelob Ultra, and and I climb into the passenger seat and we start touring the grounds. And this turned into one of the most epic Jeep rides I have ever been on. Guy grew up kind of out in the country, and I've done some what I thought were pretty intense Jeep tours. This ended up being the most intense Jeep tour I've ever been on. But it was
intense in a good way or intense in a bad way?
It was unintentionally intense. I can see why he never gets to drive. Let's just put it that way. And so we're driving, and all of a sudden, there's just a sheer cliff off to one side and a steep bank off to the other. And I'm like, man, we're almost too wide for this road. And then all of a sudden we start slipping and sliding because we're already on a steep grade. This road is on a grade. And so we're already sliding towards the edge. And I'm like, oh man, here we go. This is it. We're going to roll off. And we actually start tipping over. And then there was this little sapling that was on the side of the road. and we like tip over into the sapling. The sapling bows and bows and bows and bows, and all of a sudden it snaps us back upright, and then we were able to get out of there. But we almost went rolling down this mountain, just the two of us and a Michelob. But I knew we were in trouble. I knew we were in trouble because he's like shifting and talking, and he's holding on to the beer, and he's good. I knew we were in trouble when we were coming up on that sapling, and he goes, "Oh crap, hold my beer." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is not good." But that's the last mile. So that's why so many agents. So I ended up getting the listing agreement signed. Everything went well. It was
a test for you to see if you could handle the pressure, and you passed barely.
I passed, yeah. But,
with dry pants, right?
Yeah. There was some seat cushion missing from his car,
right.
but I had dry pants.
But what do you mean by the last mile then? How are you relating to that being the hardest part of the journey, the last mile?
So there's just so many people that have tried, so many corporations even that have tried to come into real estate and disrupt it. Say, hey, they charge too much. These fees are unnecessary. I was just emailing with a guy I used to work for in the past because I used to work for a discount brokerage. I used to think the same thing that many sellers think. And I told him, hey man, the model does not work. Help You Sell is hanging on by a thread. Redfin has never been profitable. Rex is gone. Purple Bricks is gone. Like no longer functioning.
And these are companies, if people are not aware, are structured to where you don't need to hire a realtor, right? You just go onto a website, fill in your address, and they kind of automate the system for you. And
or HomeCoin. HomeCoin's another option, right?
Okay.
So Redfin, they do have agents, right? But they've never been profitable in 20 years. So if they're not profitable, what kind of resources are they providing? What type of agents are they hiring, right? If they're not profitable. HomeCoin is an option where it's an a la carte, where you can go and say, hey, I want photos, I want MLS access, I want some help with the contracts, and you get to pick. But I run into individual agents, the same agents on transactions more often than I do on HomeCoin. And the reason why is because these companies are trying to automate and trying to use technology to replace the real estate agent, but technology and an inexperienced agent isn't able to go that last mile, isn't able to net the client, make the client more money than a traditional realtor. Maybe someday, I'm not saying it's going to be this way forever, but as it stands right now in 2024, that's just not the case.
Because the basics of it is selling a home and buying a home is a complicated process. It's not easy. It's not like going and buying a hat on Amazon. There's a lot of complications. It's paperwork. And it's more than that. Not only is it a giant purchase, it's the biggest financial transaction that you will do in your life, but there's a lot of emotion tied to it because it's not just some 2x4s and some nails. This is your home. This is where you're going to raise your kids.
Or where you did raise your kids.
Right. And this is where, exactly. So there's a lot of emotion tied into it. Yeah. And obviously, families want to get the most possible for this investment that they've made because this investment, this transaction is going to determine the next transaction. And oftentimes the financial status of the future years and decades. So it's not something that you can just leave to a computer to automate or a company that's not even in your own state, that's someone operating in another, country even. It's a transaction that necessitates, in my opinion, in your opinion, a personal touch.
Yeah, not even in my opinion, but like just in terms of if you compare statistically, right? If you look at what real estate agents net, a good real estate agent. So I'm saying like the top 10%. I'm saying an excellent real estate agent. I'm not saying somebody who just got their license last week and has never done a transaction. I'm saying a fantastic real estate agent will net you more money. They will make you more money than any of those discount options. There might be some one-offs there. You might get lucky, but if you want to roll the dice with what is potentially your largest investment, that's your call. But if you want peace of mind, then you need somebody that has experience in going that last mile, that has experience in how to market the property, experience in pricing the property, that has relationships. I can't tell you how many deals Valerie and I have either closed because of our relationships with agents on the other side or with lenders and vendors. Like there's just so much that goes into this, and the average realtor only lasts about 5 years.
Why is that?
It's brutal. It's this industry chews people up and spits them out. And the reason why is if you have a significant client load, if you're doing this full time as a real estate agent, that means 9 to 5, you're dealing with title companies, title and escrow. You're dealing with lenders. You're dealing with inspection companies. You are dealing with photographers. You have all these moving parts that have to be handled during business hours. Well, guess what? Nights and weekends, that's when sellers are available for you to come by and tour their property. Mm-hmm. That's when buyers are available to go out and see homes. So when does a real estate agent get the day off? Like if they're working with 3 to 5 people.
Right.
Because they want to be available for their clients. They want to work hard for them. They want to provide that level of service that those clients expect. So when does that agent get the time off?
So when you first started getting into this industry, did you face those challenges, and how did you persevere and get through it?
Yeah, actually, we'll probably end up, I was just talking with my mama this morning, and I think we'll probably get her on the show because she might provide an interesting...
Moms are great for talking dynamic on the radio. Absolutely.
Yeah, you get to see the real Johnny. But as far as... I didn't know. I had no idea when I got in the industry. I think most agents don't. That's why 93% of them quit within 5 years. Mm-hmm. If you knew, you probably would pick a different industry. And so what I have done, and what Valerie and I have done over the years, is created a team to help carry that load. So it's not just us dealing with all of the different facets of a real estate transaction. We have other people to help carry that load, so that enables us to still provide a superior level of service without total absolute like burnout.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're listening and you're thinking about selling your home, or you're thinking about, oh my goodness, the summer, the spring, it's right around the corner, and we want to look for a new home, then absolutely Johnny Jennings is your guy. And how can they reach out to you if they want to have a conversation with you about selling their home, touring their property? Maybe it's not a Jeep extravagant Indiana Jones adventure, but
I'm down. If you are, I'm down. But if you want to reach out to us, just go ahead and go to madeformoreliving.com, or just Google us. You'll see that we are the most Google reviewed team in the Sacramento region. Nobody has more reviews or higher reviews. So we get questions all the time like, how good are you guys? Like, you sell a lot of homes, but are you doing a good job? Just read our reviews.
Yeah, and if you're a realtor, or you've thought about being a realtor and maybe you're struggling right now, you guys have room on your team for more realtors, right? And Correct. You guys provide all the resources that guarantees them success, more so than when they're at where they're at right now.
Absolutely. We provide like so much for our agents. We can go about that in deeper, like a conversation in just a little bit. But here's the thing though too, if you're a real estate agent and you are wanting to grow your business and you're wanting to do this full time, we're the team for you. If you're wanting to do this part time, if you just want to like tell your friends at Saturday soccer camp or whatever that, hey, I'm a real estate agent, just so you can say you're a real estate agent, or if you want to make a couple bucks so you can pay for a vacation every now and then, like, we're not the team for you. We're looking for people who are committed to this craft and want to do it full time.
And make good money.
And make
all
good
right.
money, yeah.
More to come. Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings. And hey, if you're listening today and you're thinking about putting your home on the market, you want to take advantage of all of these buyers that are out shopping right now. You want to sell your home before summer gets here. Reach out to Johnny Jennings and the Tom Daves Real Estate Team. It's 855-TOM-DAVES, or try this. Go to the website, tomdaves.com, type in your address. Right away, you find out what kind of offers you would get from Johnny Jennings, or how much you would get if you wanted a cash offer from Johnny, no matter what kind of condition your home is in. Again, Johnny Jennings with the Tom Daves Real Estate Team. The website is tomdaves.com. There's a reason why they're number one in Sacramento.
This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings, powered by eXp Realty. Online at madeformoreliving.com.
Is your neighbor's house sitting on the market? Is it at a for sale sign in the front yard forever? Or maybe you're thinking about selling, you're worried the same thing is going to happen to your home. Or maybe your home is sitting on the market and you're like, why is my home not selling? Matt, I was literally talking with somebody yesterday who was saying, hey, I've been burned by real estate agents. I don't want to work with real estate agents. I don't think you guys do a good job. The last real estate agent listed my home for 6 months. We only had 15 people through the house. So why would I want to work with you? You know, this is probably one of the most common questions I get about.
Why is it one of the most common questions? Because it happens a lot?
Because a lot of people go through it, yeah. Even in today's market, even in 2021, when you could list anything and it felt like you could list anything and it would sell, there were still homes that did not achieve a successful sale.
Yeah, and I think a lot of homeowners probably are considering a number of different things. Is it just the economy? Are homes selling at all? Maybe it's not just my home. Maybe all of nobody's selling their home in Sacramento. Or they think maybe it's priced incorrectly. It's priced poorly, and nobody's coming to see the house because it's just priced wrong. Or maybe they think the realtor is not doing enough job in marketing and promoting the home, or maybe there's some kind of feature in the home that is unattractive or is just pushing people away.
I will say most of the time when I have these conversations, at least, they're not saying the real estate agent did everything they could have done, right? That's not their perspective.
Right.
And they also believe that their home is probably priced correctly. So oftentimes the blame lies on the realtor.
So there could be a lot of issues though, but you think one of the majority of issues that you see is that the realtor is not doing a good enough job as they could be doing?
Yeah, without a doubt. So there's two. I definitely think price. At the end of the day, you can have a home priced correctly and with decent marketing, not even top tier marketing, but at least like really good marketing, the home will sell. Okay, but unfortunately, what most real estate agents do is the 3 Ps. Have you heard this joke before? So the 3 Ps include: they put a sign in the yard, they put it in the MLS, and then they pray that the home sells. That's their marketing plan, the 3 Ps. Okay, and so
you say that just doesn't work.
So that can work, but it doesn't necessarily net the client the most amount of money, right? Which is ultimately what unless the seller is like, hey, I am going through a divorce, we just need to sell this as quickly as possible. Or, hey, I need to be across the country for a new job and I need this money to make that new job work. Let's sell it as quickly as possible. Or I'm about to lose my home to the bank. I just want to get some money out of this so I can move on with the next phase of my life as quickly as possible. If speed's a factor, then typically the client is not looking to net the most. But most of the time, the majority of the time, people are looking to make the most off of that sale as they possibly can. And so, unfortunately, a lot of agents use the 3 Ps, right? That's it. They may not even do the third P. They may not even pray, right? They may only do the first two where they put a sign in the yard and put it in the MLS. But what top producing teams do, what our team does, is we go above and beyond those 3 Ps. So if you're interviewing agents, what I would ask them, the first thing I would do, even before you call somebody, is Google them. Google, do they even have a Google website? Like I was talking with another fellow yesterday up in Grass Valley, and he's like, yeah, I interviewed this person, and I'm interviewing you. I said, great. And then later I looked up who I was up against. I was curious, okay, I hadn't heard these names before. And one of them didn't even have a Google presence. So to me, that just says they're not keeping up with the times. Google is absolutely critical if you're a real estate agent because all roads lead to Google. They may start at Zillow, but then somebody's going to go to Google and Google you, right? All roads eventually lead through Google. And so if your agent doesn't even have a Google profile, that's a red flag. So not only do we have a Google profile, but we have the most Google reviews out of any brokerage or team in the area. We have more reviews and a higher review rating than anybody. So I would encourage you to at least review your agent and see what kind of reviews they have. So that's one thing you can do. The other thing you can do is ask them what's their marketing plan. Okay, so we have a Bay Area buyer marketing plan where we actually, through geo-targeting and geofencing and retargeting, we're actually able to identify people looking to make a move to the Sacramento market. And that buyer population moving from the Bay represents somewhere between 15 to 17% of the buyer pool on average, almost 1 in 5, right? And so if you're not marketing to those people, then you're potentially leaving money on the table because they're selling a home that's a fraction the size of our homes out here for many multiples.
Right.
And then another thing that your agent should be doing is they should be doing what's called proactive marketing. So are they doing postcard drops through the neighborhood? Are they proactively calling through the neighborhood and letting your neighbors know that your home is on the market? Because they may live 2 streets over and they may have a friend or family member that's looking to move to the community, but they're not going to drive down your street. They're not looking at what homes are on the market on Zillow, right? But if they receive a postcard or a phone call saying, hey, your neighbor 2 streets over just listed their home, do you happen to know anybody considering making a move to the neighborhood? You're potentially leaving money on the table. And then also just make sure that they have a buyer pool. So we have over 15,000 people in our buyer pool. These were hand raisers who said, hey, we're interested in making a move. and for some reason or another, they haven't made that move yet. The timing may not have been right. The financing may not have been right, whatever it is. So what we will do is we will proactively reach out to that buyer pool that we have exclusive to us and market our client's home. On top of that, we do a whole bunch of other stuff, but those are just some of the things that we're doing that go above and beyond the 3 Ps. So if your home isn't selling, ask your real estate agent, what exactly are they doing to market your property?
And if they don't have good answers for that, is it okay for someone who has put their home on the market and they've listed with one agent, are they able to break that relationship and reach out to you guys at Made for More Living? Can they reach out to Johnny Jennings and say, hey, I'm not happy with my current realtor. He just doesn't seem like he's doing a good enough job. My home's been on the market since September, and we've only had 10 people come by to look at the house, and I'm not getting any emails or calls. I just leave a message with my realtor, and I think that's a big important issue, right? You got to have connection. It's not like you said, do the 3 Ps and I never hear from my agent until we get an offer. Like, it seems like, from my perspective, there should be constant communication.
Absolutely.
What's going on, And so, is it taboo to break relationship with your current agent? Is there certain paperwork that has to be done? If they want to, they've been hearing about Johnny Jennings and Made for More Living team, and it's like, okay, you guys sound great. Am I allowed to do that?
Yeah, so real quick, I want to touch on the lack of communication thing. That is a huge red flag. If you're in a buyer transaction and you're purchasing a home, or you're a seller and you're selling a home, and you are not hearing from your realtor, proactively, if they are not anticipating your requests, then, and if they're not anticipating your requests, that's a yellow flag. If they're not getting back to you at all, that is a huge red flag, because what's happening behind the scenes is they're trying to find the answers. They're trying to solve a problem, and they want to come to you with a solution tailor-made and with a bow on it, but they haven't come to that solution yet. So if your agent is avoiding you, massive, massive, massive red flag. So to your question about if you're not happy with your current realtor, what should you do? The first thing I would recommend is every real estate agent has a different policy about this. There's not an industry standard, but reach out to them and let them know what your concerns are. And have a conversation, because maybe they are doing a whole bunch of stuff. Maybe everything is great, and that's just how they operate. And so have a conversation with them, make sure that everything's okay, and then and then express your desire to have more reliable communication, get more people through the home in a specific timeline. Like show me what you're doing for me. So at least have a conversation with the agent, and then if that doesn't work, then you're going to have to review whatever the paperwork is that you signed with them. Some people will let you out free and clear, like, hey. I for example, the Made for More team, we do not lock people into contracts. If at any point you say, hey, this isn't working out, I'm not happy, I don't want to sell my home, I don't think you're doing a good enough job for me, you said X, you said you would do Y, and you haven't done it, then by all means, if we're not earning your business, we will rip up the contract and part as friends.
Yeah.
Some agents provide that. Most agents, however, will sign a cancellation. They'll let you out of the agreement with them, but then there's a 60, 90, 120-day clause in there where they check a box and that says, hey, if the home sells within that period of time, then you're going to owe them a commission.
Wow.
So just make sure that whatever so have the conversation, and then if you think you've canceled, make sure before you sign it that you don't owe that agent anything after that point. And then after you've signed the cancellation, everything's good, then you should reach out to another agent.
Like Johnny Jennings and Made for More Living, right?
Yeah. You can certainly reach out to us, but we're not allowed to talk with you if you are in a contract, if you've signed a listing agreement and are still in contract with somebody else.
Right.
Not only are we not allowed to do it, we won't talk to you. Okay, because this is our livelihood, and we don't want to lose our license.
Sure, absolutely. And you want to be respectful because you work with a lot of these agents.
Exactly.
They could be representing buyers, and so I hear that a lot. That there's, realtors have this camaraderie with each other because you all relate to the struggle and the challenge and the successes, and you're out there for each other. You want to support and help everyone, and that's why you guys put the call out for other realtors that are out there. If they're struggling and you want to be on a team that's going to be supportive and helpful and give you all the tools that you need and has a data list of current ready to buy clients, and you guys are a great team, and you're there for any agents that are listening that want to be part of a great team. And real quickly before we go to the break, so if someone's listening right now and they have their home on the market, or they're thinking about putting their home on the market, what's a realistic expectation right now of how long the home should be on the market? Like if they listed in September and here it is, the spring, is that too long? What's some realistic expectations that people should have for how long their home should be on the market right now?
Yeah, we get that question quite frequently. And the honest answer is it really depends. It really depends. So I was on a listing appointment yesterday in Grass Valley. This home was almost 4,000 square feet, about 2.5 acres, I say Grass Valley, it was way out in the middle of nowhere. That home is going to sit on the market longer than a home in Roseville, cookie cutter, $450,000. So it really depends. And your agent that you're interviewing should be able to bring you that market data. And they should be able to explain to you, hey, here's the average for the zip code. Here's the average for properties like mine. So that way the expectations are set. So, because when you're selling a home, it is incredibly stressful. And every time I leave a house, I just leave sellers with a word of encouragement. And that word of encouragement, you can just almost see like just melt away stress. And the reason why is because let's say the homes are selling white hot, like 10 days, you get an offer on your property on average for a home like yours, okay? That's still 9 nights that you went to bed after the home went on the market wondering, why is my home not sold? Why do people not like my house? How much longer am I going to do this? What is my home going to sell for? Is it going to sell for more or is it going to sell for less? That's 9 nights. And that's in a very competitive neighborhood, okay? And so as far as if your home's been on the market since September, I've done listing appointments. We've sold houses recently in Elk Grove, Rancho Cordova, Sacramento, Roseville, Rockland, Folsom, El Dorado Hills, Placerville, Pollock Pines, Grass Valley, Emigrant Gap. Like we've all kinds of different markets, and I am not seeing them on average take longer than, if it's priced correctly and if the marketing's done correctly, longer than 60 days. So if you're beyond that 60-day mark, then something needs to be looked at.
And before we go to break, what you said you try to give them some encouragement. What's that encouragement that you usually give them before leaving the appointment so that they feel good, going to bed day after day without getting an offer?
So this is super, you may not think it's super ninja, but I have done it. Like,
hey, if it works, it works.
I've said it dozens and dozens of times, and I actually picked it up from my business partner, Tom Daves. He's the one that taught me this line. And when I'm leaving, I just say, hey, this home will sell. This home will sell. And then you just see like the stress melt away. Because honestly, that's their number one concern.
Yeah.
And some people are like, yeah, it will sell, but for how much? And I'm like, I don't know, but we net our clients more than the average realtor. So you're going to get more with us than with somebody else. So, but if you're just a good real estate agent, we'll sell your home.
Yeah.
They'll go that they'll cover that last mile.
I think a lot of people want to hear that, just trust us, don't fear. It will sell, I
have a listing coming up.
If you know that.
I have a listing coming up in Kelsey, and the seller called me a couple days after the appointment and said, hey, I've thought it over. You're really great, but why I'm going with you is because just you were so confident that you could sell this home. Like you said, this home will sell, and I believed you meant it. And we are in the business. Yeah.
All right, more to come. Stick around. And hey, if you're brand new to real estate, or maybe you've been doing it for decades, but you're struggling every single month, maybe you're thinking about jumping into this amazing career, but you want to make sure that you're part of a team that's going to take you to the next level, reach out to Johnny Jennings and have a discussion with him. Find out about all the resources that he provides along with eXp Realty. Reach out to made4living.com, made4living.com, and find out how to be a part of Johnny Jennings and eXp Realty.
This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings, powered by eXp Realty. Online at madeformoreliving.com.
Bidding wars are back in Sacramento. In fact, just this last weekend, we had we put a house on the market, and we had over 4 offers come in over list price. We had another agent represent a buyer, and he was up against 7 additional buyers on the same home. So bidding wars are back.
And is that due to just the market improving, or what would you attribute that bidding war to?
Yeah, so I think a couple different things. It seems like people are adjusting to the new normal. Interest rates above 7%. are here, and there doesn't seem like they're going to go away anytime soon. And people are tired of waiting. Sellers are tired of waiting from, hey, I'm waiting for interest rates to go down. Buyers are tired of waiting for the prices to come down. Like the prices just continue to go up. And so they're just like, hey, this is the new normal. I'd rather take that next step and begin the process rather than wait. And there's just a lot of pent up demand from people who were waiting that are like now jumping back into the market. Yeah.
So when you mention bidding war, do you mention that in a way that it's a good thing or a bad thing, or it's somewhere in the middle? It just depends on who you are. How do you define a bidding war as terms of good or bad?
So if you're a seller, it's a fantastic thing. It's wonderful. Because,
and explain why that is.
Yeah, because if you're a seller, you want a bidding war. Oftentimes, I guess there might be somebody listening to this show and thinking, okay, if there's a bidding war, then I'm worried about leaving money on the table. I should price my home higher, right? Because the market is so hot right now. Let me price my home a little bit higher than maybe what the online portals like Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com are showing, or maybe what my agent is suggesting. And the problem with pricing your home higher is you may only get one buyer. And then when that buyer comes through, then they're going to do their due diligence on the home. They're going to inspect the home. Even if it's sold as is, they have the right to inspect what they're buying. And they always have a request for repairs. I always tell sellers budget for this request for repairs. Well, then they they renegotiate with you on the request for repairs. You can accept, counter, or reject the request for repairs. But if you reject it flat out, the deal falls apart and you go back on the market. Now, in today's hot market, sellers or other buyers are going to wonder, hey, why did that home not sell? What's wrong with the home? So it has a stigma. So you feel pressured to at least negotiate with the buyers on that. And that's if you only have one offer on the table. Compare that to you have 2, 3, 4 offers on the table. Well, you can accept the highest and best, or you can accept the offer with the best terms for you as a seller. And then you can also have the second best person complete what's called a backup offer, have them complete it in writing. So that way, if the first offer falls through, or if they get too aggressive on the negotiations for the repairs, you can say, hey, we already have a signed backup offer. Like if take it or leave it. And that gives you a whole lot more negotiating power as a seller in a bidding war type of a situation.
Okay, so for these homes that you're listing and you're generating bidding wars, what strategies are you utilizing at Made for More Living? What strategies are you utilizing to attract those bidding wars? Or is it, like you said, it's just part of the housing market right now? People have established that the rates are going to be what they are and they need to get into a home. Talk a little bit about that, of what draws a bidding war.
Yeah. So what draws a bidding war? Number one thing is pricing the home correctly. Like not overpricing it, not necessarily underpricing it, but pricing it correctly. So what we always say is the listing price is the marketing price. It's not the sales price. Just because let's say the home comps out at $400,000 and you started at $399, that doesn't mean the home's selling at $399. It might sell for $380. It might sell for $420, right? Depending on a number of different factors.
So is that your goal when you go into a listing appointment and you talk to a potential client, you strategize, hey, our goal here is to list this home at a competitive price, maybe even lower than the market, lower than comps, so that you generate that bidding war? Do you have that on a regular basis? Hey, let's try to generate a bidding war?
Yeah, we do have that conversation.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, it's up to the seller, because as I always tell them, it's your house, it's your rules. I'm here to advise you. Hopefully you trust me enough, like if we're going to work together, that you trust me enough to take my advice. But at the end of the day, it's your house, your rules. For example, in the Bay Area, I recently read a blog by Ryan Lundquist. Whether you're an agent or a buyer or seller, you need to sign up for Ryan Lundquist's blog. It's the Sacramento appraisal blog. Best one on the market, and the guy's local, and he gives like honest truth. He doesn't care if you're a buyer, a seller, or an agent. He's just telling you, hey, this is what's happening in the market. And recently he did a blog about homes that are selling in the Bay Area. And homes that, I think it was like 51, maybe 53% of homes that are selling in the Bay Area are selling for over list price. And the reason why is because in the Bay, they strategically price homes 5, 10, 15% below market value. And to put that in context, 5% below market value on a $500,000 house is $25,000. That's a lot of money, you know. And so, for whatever reason, sellers over here don't trust that, right? But it 100% it works. 99.9% of the time.
Because historically, Sacramento hasn't always been a hot market like it is now. Whereas the Bay Area, historically, it's always been, very competitive, right?
Well, it's like listening to the radio. Like you'll hear like around holidays, the auto dealers, they'll have a special deal on a car, right? It's called a lead magnet. It's pulling them in for that one car. But your home should be a lead magnet. Right, it needs to stand out from the crowd, and sometimes people, for example, Valerie has a home that she's a buyer she's working with in Los Lagos, premium community, right? The buyer was adamantly opposed to Los Lagos. She did not want to move into there. She did not want the home prices. But then all of a sudden, she thought it was outside of her budget. It was 50% higher than what she was wanting to pay for a home. But then the JJ actually sent her the listing on this one. And she's like, oh my gosh, I love it. I need it. I want to have it. Right. And so she went in and made an offer on that home. So what that has to do for sellers is oftentimes if you are pushing the upper envelope of what the home is priced at, people aren't even seeing your home. Because they've set their search filters. The realtor has set the search parameters based off what the client has told them. But they'd be willing to pay a little bit more if they knew it existed, if it checked all the boxes. And so that's why it's so critical to price a home correctly. And then as far as marketing goes, we joked a little bit about the 3 Ps. Put a sign in the yard, put in the MLS, and then pray that the home sells. Like your real estate agent should be doing more than the 3 Ps. There should be some digital marketing that they're paying for. There should be some print marketing that they're paying for. There should be a team of people that is proactively calling through the neighborhood that the team or agent is providing that service for you as a seller. They should be doing more than just the 3 Ps because anybody can do the 3 Ps. A discount service can do the 3 Ps. Right. But it's not going to net you the most amount of money. Yeah.
So for folks that are listening right now and they want to work with Johnny Jennings and the Made for More Living team, they've been hearing what you've been talking about, but they're in a market to purchase a house and they're hearing this conversation about bidding wars.
Yeah.
And for them, it's like, oh my gosh, there's no way I'm going to be able to compete with these all cash buyers from the Bay Area. But hope is not lost, right? Nope. It's not impossible. What are some strategies that you, Johnny Jennings, and the Tom Daves real estate team and Made for More Living, what strategies do you guys incorporate to help buyers in a competitive market where there's all these bidding wars?
Great question. So most people falsely believe that the highest price wins. And that is without a doubt not true. Sometimes, for sure, sometimes the highest price does win. But what really makes the difference is the real estate agent, because a good real estate agent will do. So we have an actual document that we provide our agents with, and it's titled 10 winning at bidding more tips and tricks. And there's 10 of them. And so one of them is you need to have a local lender, right? If you have a local lender who has gone through a pre-approval process, not pre-qualification. And so, for example, somebody submitted an offer on one of our homes, and they came in $40,000 over list price, and they were with Rocket Mortgage. Okay, 2 red flags there. One, they came in way high, so the home may or may not appraise for that amount, and if it doesn't appraise for that amount, then the seller's going to have to drop the price. So it looks great on paper, but in what's going to actually correlate to the seller's bank account isn't going to happen. Okay. The second thing is they had a pre-qualification with Rocket Mortgage. One, Rocket Mortgage is traditionally horrible to work with. They're on the East Coast. Their pre-approvals are not very valid.
They've got a lot of advertisement commercials that say otherwise. Are you telling me they're not telling the truth in their commercials?
I'm saying maybe they're sugarcoating their actual product. So, and there's a difference between pre-qualification and pre-approval. A good real estate agent is going to know the difference. Pre-qualification means, Matt, you and I were having a conversation. You told me what your income was. You told me what you thought your credit score was. And based off what you told me, I said you're pre-approved for X amount, or you're pre-qualified for X amount. Okay. Pre-approval means the lender has done a credit check. They've looked at your bank statements. They've verified your income. Like they've gone the extra mile. Okay. And then there's an underwriting process, which goes even further than the generic pre-approval. So a good agent is going to get you pre-approved and fully underwritten with a local lender. So that way, and it doesn't cost you anything. This is a free process for you. And so when an experienced listing agent sees that pre-approval come across with the offer, they're like, okay, I know that lender. They do a great job. They're already fully underwritten. There should be no issues with the loan. because you can make any offer you want, but the best offer is the one that closes.
Yeah.
So that's something that buyers should be doing, and their agent should be helping them with.
If you want some of this free information, if you're looking to buy a home or sell a home, or you want to meet with Johnny Jennings, or if you're a realtor and you're thinking about, hey, I want to be on a better team, I want to be on the Made for More Living team, just go to made4living.com, right?
Made for More Living.
Made4living.com. If you're an agent, if you want to buy a home, if you want to sell a home, reach out to Johnny Jennings. He will reach out and talk to you, give you all this free information, and help you get to the next level of your life if you're buying, selling, or you're an agent. Again, made4living.com. All right, guys, there's a reason why they are number one in all of Sacramento, why they have more 5-star Google reviews. Johnny Jennings with the Tom Daves Real Estate team. If you're thinking about putting your home on the market, go to tomdaves.com, type in your address, find out right away what kind of offers you would get or how much you would get if you wanted a cash offer from Johnny Jennings today, no matter what kind of condition your home is in. Again, it's tomdaves.com, or reach out to Johnny Jennings. He'd love to talk with you about your home. It's 855-TOM-DAVES. Again, only the best. Johnny Jennings with Made for More Living.
This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings, powered by eXp Realty. Online at madeformoreliving.com.
Why do agents charge so much money? I hear that question all the time. Like, they did nothing. They did nothing for this money, and now they're wanting to take a piece of my hard-earned equity. Why, Johnny, do you guys charge so much? Have you ever been asked that? Have you ever wondered that question, Matt?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of my friends and family wonder. I had a friend who just sold her house, and she was happy that it sold for so much, So there's that side of it. It's like, oh, I'm so excited that it sold for so much. And then, of course, my realtor, they got 6%. So they're making a bundle off of my home.
For doing nothing.
For doing nothing,
yeah.
Right. Come on, what did they do? They just signed some paperwork. I could have done that.
I wish it was that easy.
But on the other hand, she's still excited that her home sold for so much, more than what she was expecting.
Yep. So, there you go. So I would argue, hopefully that agent did their job there, right?
Right.
But So how do real estate commissions work? This is something that I want to peel back the curtain a little bit on and just shine a spotlight and get some clarity around it. So generically speaking, that 6%. Let's just say it's 6%. There's not a set standard commission that is. If anybody's telling you that, they're breaking the law. Like, there is no standard commission. But commonly, what you see is 6%. Even in today's market, even in the local Sacramento region, still commonly seen 6%.
Break that down. It means 6% in total.
Total commissions.
That's split up, right?
Correct. So it's typically it's split 50% to the agent representing you, the seller, and typically 50% to the agent that brings the buyer. So that 6% now turns into 3%. So for your friend who worked with that listing agent was not paid 6%. She might have been paid, in this example, she might have been paid 3%. Okay? So now we're dealing with the 3%. So out of that 3%, how is it typically broken up? Well, on average, broad brush strokes here, but on average, 1/3%, so 1% goes to the broker, 1/3%, or that second percent goes to taxes, and that last third of a percent goes towards living and marketing. Right? So it's paying the realtor's gas, it's paying the realtor's mortgage, it's paying for their food, it's putting shoes on their kids,
right.
It's paying for their life and marketing. And so when somebody is saying, hey, will you adjust your commission a little bit, you have to realize that you're bumping up against one of those 3 things. The brokerage is going to get their piece, right? That's just baked into it. Taxes are going to get paid regardless, and if they don't, then the agent's going to end up on a payment plan, and that's a whole nother conversation. So what do you think they're going to skimp on? Because they got to pay their mortgage, they got to put food on the table. They're probably going to skimp on marketing. And so when you are negotiating down from that, if your agent doesn't have a robust marketing plan, if they're just doing the 3 Ps, then negotiate them down. But if they're providing print marketing, if they're doing digital marketing, if they have a Bay Area buyer program, if they're running radio ads that are generating traffic to their websites where your home will be featured, if they have a team of 8 to 10 people who are proactively calling through the neighborhood, like if they're doing all these other things beyond putting it in the MLS and putting a sign in the yard, then what you're doing as you negotiate against yourself, you're negotiating against yourself. Okay, so that's essentially how the three buckets work in real estate. You got the brokerage, you got the taxes, and you got living and marketing expenses. Does that make sense?
Sure, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, and keep in mind that real estate agents are self-employed. So, with the exception of, I think, Redfin, they're salaried, like they're like a base with bonuses. But most other real estate agents are self-employed. So they do not receive a commission. They do not receive a dime until they achieve a successful sale, until they help you get the price you want.
Yeah, so every time they're going out and, showing a house or driving around, signs, all of that, gas, they're paying for that all out of pocket, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And what you don't see behind the scenes.
And then there's fees incorporated as well, right?
Yeah, there's so many fees.
I don't think a lot of people know about those.
Most people, it surprises me how many people will pay for the schooling, go through the background check, take the test, and then be like, wait, what? I got to pay more?
Right.
It's like, yeah, you got to pay more. And these are
on a regular basis.
These are annual dues. Like, these are not going away. And then they're like, well, what do you mean I need a website? What do you mean I need a CRM? What do you mean I need a marketing system? Like, you're self-employed. There's nobody providing this for you. Mm-hmm. Okay, your brokerage might provide some generic stuff out of the box, right? But it's up to you to either figure out how to use it or to pay for systems that are going to actually work. And so that's a benefit to most agents being on the team. So, for example, here at Made for More, we consider ourselves a launching platform for agents. We realize the life cycle for an agent. Typically, they start out on a team, so that way they can learn how to correctly represent buyers and sellers. Mm-hmm. They build up that book of business, and then they launch into their solo career, right? So now they're a solo agent, and then from there, they either start their own team or they just remain a solo agent with like assistants and stuff helping them with the process. So we realize that 3-step process from team, solo, team. We understand that. And so our goal is not to keep an agent down, but to actually help them launch. And so how we help them launch is we provide them, I used to say a business in a box, but that just doesn't do it justice. We provide them with a fighter jet. And so the reason why I say a fighter jet is most agents, if you told them business in a box, they think, okay, I can self-learn all this stuff and it'll be fine. But if I handed you all the tools that we provide, agents do not know how to use them. It's like handing them a fighter jet, and they're like, "How do I turn this on? Right. How do I get to the taxi down the runway, let alone fly the thing?" And so what we do is we provide agents with a CRM and a website.
A CRM.
Yeah, so CRM's consumer relationship management. So it's a top tier CRM that enables them to keep notes on all their different files and just organize all these different people they're working with. So that way they can provide a higher level of service to their clients.
Okay.
Rather than keeping it on sticky notes in a notepad.
Right.
And so then we also provide them with a marketing system. So that way they stay top of mind, and then that way they can adequately represent their clients when they're promoting their clients' properties. Sure. And then here's the ad spend. So most agents, they're taught do open houses, and they're taught, work your network, work the people who you know already. Okay, that's fine, but what happens when everybody in your network has bought a house with you? Like, there's only so many people in your network. You need to go out and find new people to help. And so you're going to need to augment that with marketing at some point. And what we're seeing is that on average, you can find somebody will raise their hand and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing something," for about $15. But that has about a 1% conversion rate. Really? Yeah. So that means you would need to spend $15 100 times, or put another way, $1,500 to get somebody that's going to move forward and actually sell a home or buy a home with you. So your marketing budget would need to be at least $1,500 a month, right? And then every agent, we always recommend have a coach. Have a coach. The cheapest coaches that I've ever had were the worst. And the best ones I ever had, I paid the most for. So a good barometer is a coach should cost you about $1,000 a month. A good coach. They'll make you that in spades, and they'll just launch your career. And the last thing is a marketing designer. So who's going to design the flyers? Who's going to design the social media posts? Who's going to help you with the website? Who's going to do all that realtor-y stuff that you see on social and on Google ads and Facebook ads? And so a good marketing designer, if you hire them a virtual one overseas, are about $5 an hour minimum. And for 40 hours a week, that equates to about $800 a month. So those are the basic things that you need. You need a CRM, you need a website, you need a marketing system, you need an ad budget, you need a coach, and you need a marketing designer. Those are the basic things that we provide our agents at the Made for More team upfront and no out-of-pocket expense. if they were to go and buy on their own the tools, like if you're curious about what tools we use, I'm happy to have a conversation about it, but it would cost you about $4,320 every single month. Whether you're closing a house or whether you're not closing a house, that payment is going out.
Sure.
And on the team, we shoulder that burden for you until you're able to take it on for yourself and launch your career as a solo agent.
Awesome. So if they're listening and maybe they have been incorporating some of those tools, but it's just not working because maybe they're not utilizing them the right way, or maybe they're mediocre and they're not the top of the line that you guys use. What's the best way for an agent to come and at least just talk with you? You guys got a brand new state-of-the-art office suite,
gorgeous.
Right? That's just opening up.
Over 7,000 square feet, 2 conference rooms in Roseville, signing room.
And they get access to that,
right?
Oh,
absolutely. There's no desk fee. There's no monthly cost to them.
So that's just amazing. So there's so many benefits. Obviously, you guys are the most Googled, one of the most successful teams in all of Northern California. And people think, well, there's no way I'm going to be able to get on that team. There's just no room. Obviously, you guys are just too successful. And you only want top of the line agents. But if there's agents struggling right now, or they just want to go to the next level, right?
Yep.
They want to be successful. They want to, reach that plateau where they're at that plateau and they just want to go further. They can reach out to you guys.
Absolutely. So I will say this: I am not a coach. That is not my goal. I help people buy and sell houses, and I help my team. That is my core focus. And so if you are looking for coaching, like I'm just not your guy. That's not what I do. But if you're looking for a team, if you're looking for a culture, or even if you just have some questions, I'm happy to help anybody. Because again, one of my mentors, Brent Gove, said a rising tide lifts all ships. And so I'm happy to help. And so if you want to reach out to me, you can just go to madeformoreliving.com. You can Google us and just say, hey, I'm interested in connecting with Johnny. Yeah. And a member of my team will set that up.
Made4living.com. Made4living.com. What else? Anything else before we let them go?
Nope.
Last words.
And so if you are a buyer or seller and you are just kind of curious and want to know more about how realtors make money, or if you're curious about like what are we doing to market our clients' properties? Like we spend on average about $500,000 a year in marketing. If you're wanting to know more about that, reach out to us. If you are wanting to buy a home and you're not wanting to overpay for a home, reach out to us. We specialize in that. And then if you're looking to get in the industry, or if you are in the industry and you're looking to take it to the next level, reach out to us. So buyers, sellers, agents, we're here to help.
Made4living.com. Thanks, buddy.
Absolutely. Thanks, Matt.